All right, Shalom, Shalom. This is your brother Issachar coming back at you with another lesson. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises, all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Makar Kudash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect and the 144,000 scattered across the four corners of the earth. Shalom to you. All right, in today's lesson, we're going to go into how, these, the Edomites, okay, that they do, in fact, have to pay for everything that they've done. Because there's a lot of, there's a lot of religions out there. There's a lot of people's, opinions. There's a lot of stuff going on out there, But you got to understand that, the wicked, they have to pay for what they've done. And like I've said before in the past, we've had accountants, brothers and myself, that where we ran into Edomites and stuff like that, and when they came across the camp, and they straight up tell us, because like they're living in La La world, because they straight up say, oh yeah, well, the Lord forgave them for that. It's like, no, they never. The Lord hasn't forgave the Edomites for what you done. You're doing a whole lot. You're doing a whole lot to the world. To the animals, the trees, all that. So we're just gonna go into scripture. A few scriptures. It's this one won't be too long. We'll see what happens in the spirit. So this is just this is just a lesson to edify the hopeful elect out there, to let you know that yes, indeed, that the wicked are not going anywhere, that they have to in fact pay for everything that they've done. It's very real. Very real, very real. Because they destroyed the whole planet. Remember that. So that's something to kind of think about, you guys out there, Akim and Aqua. Remember. Sometimes, because, we're Israelites, we're at the bottom, we don't have too much money and all that. Remember when you're going through your, your car problems, you might got fired from your job. So what? Okay, there's 1,000 jobs out there. Okay, remember, all you need is your daily bread. Okay, and this is why that prayer, your daily bread, you have to really simplify your life. Okay, and remember, when things are not working out, you got to make adjustments. Okay, you got to make adjustments. If you can't pay for something, a car no more, apartment, move out. Try to do what you can, right? Get your hustle on. But if it ain't working out, of course, first pray to the Lord, right? That's number one. Very important, Akim and Akwas. Okay, number one, when you go through your troubles, I don't care what it is, a car accident, you lose your job, your family member's sick, whatever. Okay, you call on the names first. First you call on the names first. All right, and but you got to make adjustments. You got to make adjustments. Okay, Revelation chapter 11 verse 18. And the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come, and the time of the dead, that they should be judged, and that thou should give reward unto thy servants the prophets, and to the saints, and them that fear thy name, small and great, and shouldest destroy them which destroy the earth. There it is. So let's break this down. Okay, right here, Revelation chapter 11 verse 18. And the nations were angry. So this is why Apostle Tahar, he made a video on that. I believe it was yesterday or early this morning, but it showed some Edomite. I believe it was an Edomite. He had like a red shirt on. He was saying that America's through, stuff like that. That's a good clip right there. Low willing, I'll upload that. Just that clip of that. I believe he was a heathen, but he was just saying that America's just finished, But that's just the time that we're living in, because you can see that these nations are upset, You got Americans who, you got so-called white people, okay, who who hate America. They hate their own kingdom. You know, yeah, you got a lot of people out there that are saying, F Donald Trump. You see, and they're so-called white people. They're Edomites. It's just to show you how cruel they are. Because they don't care about what people think. About what's beneficial for the people. Not at all. See, but the world's starting to, wake up to smell the coffee, so to speak. Not everybody, but people who have like a decent head on their shoulders. You guys know what time it is. The elect are gonna understand, but you got people in the world who haven't woke up to the truth, but they even know. Because they're like, yeah, this place is done. Yeah. Oh, hey, yesterday when they had the Grammys, I forgot that one guy who was like a host, who's kind of like that guy was a host, but he went to go talk to that guy Bad Bunny, but he said, hey, he goes, America. He even said it, but he was joking around. If you guys caught it, oh yeah, America. He said something that America. There's a lot of problems in America. Pretty much like America's finished. He goes, oh, can I go stay with you over there? He was just joking, but that's just real. Because he made a joke like that. Because even he made a joke like that, but that's real. Because America is finished. He made a joke like that yesterday. That guy who was like hosting, I don't know the dude's name. I only saw it for a few minutes. The Grammys. I was bugged out. You got a bunch of Satanists out there. Those are all sellouts, by the way. To those of you that don't know, all those clowns, celebrities and all that, they're all sellouts. They're all sellouts, freaks, and the Lord's gonna deal with them. Remember, like Yahushua said, they received their consolation. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. They want to shake hands with the devil. They're gonna find out. A lot of these celebrities, even athletes, okay, like LeBron James and all that, they're gonna find themselves in a guillotine and all that, because right now, they're just being used for entertainment. But one thing, the so-called white man does not respect them. Yeah, they may like them because LeBron James and they're entertainment. That's all it is. It's just entertainment. But that don't mean that the so-called white man respects you. Remember that. So all these celebrities out here, because we're coming to another lockdown. Okay, remember that. Real soon. Because you got disease X going on out there. And forget the elites, Because, yeah, remember Bill Gates told us out of his own mouth that, that this place was going to, remember if the first one didn't get your attention, the second one will. Remember that? So you gotta remember that it's not just that, but the Lord's intervening. Remember, the Lord's gonna plague America, but plagues like He did to Egypt. Remember that, okay? The Lord's gonna start taking people's family members. He's gonna start doing a whole lot, okay? Yeah, he might some of you, He might blind you, okay? Take your eyesight. Imagine that, okay? Imagine before there's like stormtroops. Imagine like you're a prepper, Imagine you're a prepper and you're waiting, because that this place, America, is about to be invaded by Russia, China, okay, foreigners, a foreign troop. Okay, imagine right before, let's say you're a prepper, okay? Yeah, because this is very real. The Lord's gonna get a lot of you like that. Okay, imagine right before, like let's say they invade America, right before they get to your house, the Lord blinds you. Imagine that. The soldiers can do whatever they want to you. Imagine that. You're already like, yeah, I'm ready for war and all that, and the Lord just blinds you right before they get to your door. Imagine that. So those of you that don't fear the Lord, that are mocking, remember the Lord's not mocked, and He's the King of terrors. Okay? All right, like Apostle Gabar says, the King of terrors, that's because Apostle Gabar goes into that a lot. You got to really, because a lot of people just read past that, like, okay, the King of terrors. Yeah, it's the King of terrors. Go back, you got to think about that, the King of terrors. So that's a heavy title right there, man. The King of terrors. Shit. The Lord's going to get the wicked, in your most feeble, most vulnerable situations, Yeah, because a lot of people are prepping like, oh yeah, we're ready for war and all that. How do you know? How do you know that the Lord's not going to blind you or take you out right before the soldier gets to right before these soldiers get to your door? How do you know that? See, remember the Lord's going to get everybody out here who doesn't believe. Everybody. You know, yeah. Imagine that. So hey, this is why that fear is very important. Okay, the fear of the Lord, because if you fear the Lord, it's not, and remember, it's not like, okay, you just gotta walk around with your tail up your ass. Not like that, okay, excuse my Italian. But you have to have that healthy fear, because if you fear the Lord, you're gonna make the adjustments. You're gonna fast. You're gonna repent. You're gonna do what you need to do to please the Lord, one way or another. Okay, we all have ups and downs, all of us, including myself, All right, absolutely. But, that healthy fear, because you're going to have that fear like, yo, I'm not going to eat that pork. Like, no, I went off, shit, I'm going to fast, I'm going to do this, I'm not going to do that no more. You're going to try, because that's why that fear is very important. Because the majority of people on this earth don't have that fear. So that's why they're like, oh, fuck it, whatever. If I die, I die. Well, hey, good luck, Revelation chapter 11, verse 18, and the nations were angry, and thy wrath. So the nations are angry. This is why they're coming up against America, because a lot of people are starting to see, what's going on here. The military, okay, you got generals that are even like, no, hey, fuck this, because you guys are starting to figure out what's really going on. See, the prophets have been telling you the whole time. All right, because the prophets are the mouthpiece for Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Literally, and thy wrath is come. See, the wrath, judgment, and the time of the dead, that they should be judged. Right, because we are in judgment time. It's not just to scare you and be like, oh, it's judgment time. Like, oh, ooh, oh, you guys are trying to scare us. No, we're in judgment time, like for reals. See, that thou should give us reward unto thy servants the prophets. Right, because the prophets, yeah, that's they're gonna receive immortality, salvation. You see, and to the saints, okay, the elect, the Israelites, and them that fear thy name, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, small and great. See that? So yeah, remember, it don't matter if you're a teacher, because some people teach, some people don't. Okay, but you gotta remember that it's very, very, very heavy. Okay, because remember, you have the hopeful elect. Some people are just some people, they believe, but that's a beautiful thing, because not everybody has the gift to teach, but that's all right. See, and to the saints and to them that fear thy name, small and great. So that, yeah, let's say, like you don't teach but you believe. That's beautiful, right there. See, small and great. So it don't matter if you're a teacher, okay, or if you're someone who believes. Remember, the elect, there's different members of the body. It's just like your body, but every member is important. Okay, it's like you may not be the head of the body, but what about like your fingers? What if you lost your fingers or your toes today? Every member of the body is important. Remember that. Okay. All right. So that's for those of you coming in. Just remember, keep that mindset. Don't worry about like oh well, I don't know that much and all that. Hey, don't worry about it. Be grateful for the portion that the Lord gave you. And He's gonna build you up and give you more in due time. Absolutely. But just be grateful for that, because there's billions of people in the world and they have no idea what's going on. And should it destroy them, which destroy the earth. So who's destroying the earth right now? Okay, let's just take a second, think about it. Okay, who's destroying the earth right now? All right, who's out there throwing trash in outer space, spilling oil in the oceans, doing deforestation, throwing chemtrails? Yeah, okay, the Israelites, okay, yeah, they may rob, some liquor stores here and there, okay, but they're trying to survive. You see, because the so-called white man, the Edomites, you took all of the earth's natural resources, but people have to pay for fruit and water. You clown, See, all right. So, but who's doing the big damage? Like all these storm drains, okay, all these concrete channels that go out to the ocean, okay. They're because I work in construction, that's neither here nor there, but I see the stuff like the drains and all that. Okay, this place is terrible. Okay, and that's what I can see. If you see like catch basins, those of you that are familiar with construction, you guys know. Okay, you ever go to like cities like catch basins or DIs and all that? They're filthy. 'Cause you know how sometimes you gotta do a tie-in or tie into like an old existing pipe. You know how dirty that pipe is. Imagine all that's going out to the ocean. Imagine what you can see. Okay, so imagine everything else that you can't see, how dirty it is in there. Okay, just look at the LA River. Okay, look at all these big old channels around the US that lead straight to the ocean. Look how dirty they are. Okay, look at all these cars and everything. Okay, this is why the fishes are dying. It's so bad that the fishes and whales commit suicide because they're dying. The water's that polluted because of you, Esau. Yeah, yep. Yeah, you could point fingers all day at the Israelites, but remember, this is your kingdom. You're the manager. You set up this stuff. Okay? The Israelites, they're just looking for work, for jobs, just to eat, just to survive. But this is your program, Esau. See, the so-called white man. This is why you're going down. You're going down, my man. You're going down, young man. Yeah, you're going down. You're going down. You're going down, and you're gonna go down hard. All right, because you guys took America violently from the Israelites, so the Lord's gonna take it from you violently. Okay? Oh yeah. Let me get one more scripture, and that's it. Then yeah, because I'm running a little short on time here, but let me see here. Yeah, because remember that, There. Daniel 7, verse 18, okay? But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom. So they're going to take it from you. See? Because, yeah, you think the so-called white man's going to say, okay, yeah, we're sorry. Here's our kingdom. Hell no. And the Lord don't want you to do that. And neither do we. Why would we want you to apologize? For what? There's no fun in that. See, the man of the Lord, Yahushai, the 144,000 angels are going to take it from you. Meaning beat you down, put your bosses into chains, throw around, bang your children against the walls, okay, yeah, just like you did with us, remember what you did to us. Just remember that, all that has to be paid back in full. And remember, our minds can only go so far. You imagine the Lord that knows everything. Esau, you're in trouble, man. And you heathens, because you're in trouble too, because you helped him. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever. Right. Because once Yahushai gets here, that's end game for you, E. Even forever and ever. So there it is. That's it on today's lesson. Remember, he has to pay for everything that he's done. And he's not going nowhere. Yeah, he can, put the blame game and team up and all that. It don't even matter. Remember, no one's not going anywhere. So with that, keep the faith, stay patient on your feet, soldier. Shalom.